soon, but for my next guest, the shutdown was nearly a matter of life or death. A couple kicked out of a national park, lost for days. They just barely survived. Kathy Fry and her husband, Ricky Lee McFarlane, join me now via Skype. Welcome to both of you. Now, Kathy, I know that you're speaking from your hospital bed. How are you physically?
I'm a lot better than I was, I'll tell you that. Finally, I think, in what you call a functioning human being again to some degree. It's going to be a difficult recovery, though.
Now, just to let viewers know what happened here, you and your husband, you're from Arkansas. You were vacationing in Big Bend Park, National Park in Texas last week. But you were thrown out of the park when the federal government shut down, and an official at the national park suggested you relocate to the state park to continue your vacation. And that, Ricky, I think is where all the trouble started. Tell me what happened next.
Well, we picked a trail we thought was a loop, and we were under the impression that it wasn't that hard, to do. And we took off for a day hike, and we packed enough water and food for one day. And we got about a little over halfway, and we were out of water, out of food, and it was getting dark. And so we had to pull up and sleep. We just laid down right on the ground there and went to sleep. And I said, we'll get up the next morning and finish it out. We'll be okay. But the next morning we got up, took off, and it was just too much up and downs. And then it got hot without water. We just couldn't make it, and we had to stop short. And that just left us out there. And, we traveled right before dark a little bit further and actually found some water in a stream bed underneath the rock. And we drank, both of us drank quite a bit of it. And
Ricky, if I could just jump in, Ricky, I wonder if you could just do us a favor. Could you just push the camera slightly away from you both so that we can see you? It's a little bit too close, I'm being told. That's great. There we are, the wonders of technology. That's terrific. So, Kathy, this is when it got serious for you because, you were hiking and you were in the wrong park. It wasn't where you normally go. You go to the national park every year. Right. And because of this shutdown, you're thrown into another park, and suddenly it's getting very dangerous for you. You're severely sunburnt, severely dehydrated, and this huge search goes on. Up to 37 volunteers are involved, in fact, in getting you safe and eventually airlifting you to safety. Where you felt, I believe, that you were on the verge potentially of dying here.
I did not think I was going to make it, and that's been a hard thing to say several times now, knowing that my kids are hearing that. They've heard it today already, and they're hearing it again probably right now. But, we do know desert hiking. It's something that we've always enjoyed doing. We spent many years doing it at Big Bend at the national park, and it's just done a little bit more differently over at the state end of things than it is at the national end. And what we thought would translate into, just switching gears and switching up camps didn't quite turn out that way for us. And so,
see, here's the question for you, Kathy: is that this is not one of the big scandals of this shutdown by any means. You obviously you went hiking in a different park and you were unfortunate. What it is, though, it's one of those stories which I suspect is being replicated all over America. People who have just been disadvantaged by the shutdown, had to change their plans, and in your case, that change of plan, taking you out of a comfort zone into somewhere you really didn't understand or know very well, nearly cost you your life. How do you feel about the Washington politicians, which are causing all this disruption all over your country, leading, in your case, to a potentially very serious situation?
Well, I think that what really got to me, first we see people every year, the same people every year who were having to shut down very reluctantly, something that they truly believe in. Those of us who go at the same time every year, we all kind of know each other and we know who's who. The other thing that honestly concerned me, knowing that this was all in play, once we did go missing, was that the best facility and in terms of aircraft and search and rescue teams, that belongs to that national park. And I knew that here we were out there missing. And while the state park might very well turn to the Big Bend National Park as it has in the past, those resources probably were not going to be there like they would have. And that did weigh heavily on my mind.
Well, look, I'm so pleased that it's all turned out okay for you, Kathy, and thank you to you and Ricky for joining me tonight, and continued good luck with your recovery, and I appreciate you coming on the show. If Washington can't solve the shutdown, there will sadly be more stories like that. I'll talk to an elderly couple. He's a Korean War veteran and a cancer survivor. They've been forced out of their home, the home they legally own, because of the shutdown. When we come back, I'll try to get some answers from my panel of experts on